Welcome to the Life of Phys Podcast. I'm your host, Tyson Martin. On this episode, I have Fred Agho. Fred is an accomplished commercial and portrait photographer based in Houston, Texas. His journey began with photographing his collegiate football teammates, and his love for image making has since grown into a passion for capturing compelling portraits that convey a deep sense of connection with his subjects. Now let's hear a word from our podcast partner and get to the show. The Life of Phys Podcast is lit by Harlow. Harlow is on a mission to empower creators to elevate their creativity with lighting kits made to last and built to inspire. These lights are bold, beautiful, and powerful because Harlow believes that your lights deserve to be seen. To learn more, follow them on Instagram at Harlow Creators or online at www.harlow.com, and don't forget to use our discount code Tyson10 to save 10% on your order.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Fred Agho, aka Fujifred. I'm a commercial and editorial and portrait photographer. That's a lot of tags, right? I'm based out in Houston, Texas. I've been doing this over 10 years. I think closer to 20. I'm not sure, but I think I have the grades to prove it. Love photography. Man, I'm excited to be here today, man. What's up?
Oh, thanks, Fred. Thanks for coming on. Man, your portrait work. That's what drew me to you as a creative, was seeing some of that portrait work you put out, the way you capture people. It's so nice to see how clean the work is. You know, you put out this product that is just, it inspires me to keep pushing myself because I'm new to photography and I'm learning as I go, and I see this work and I'm like, okay, there's steps to this game. I'm going to get there. And I just keep using it as my inspiration. So I'm a fan first and foremost. I've been a fan of your work for as long as I've been shooting photos.
How long is that?
I started seriously in 2019.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So COVID, I'm a COVID shooter.
Yeah.
I just messed around with a camera and an old Nikon right before COVID. And then I bought an XT3 right as it was released.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a Fuji guy up until I put my Fuji down for the next year to do a project with a Ricoh for a year and see what I can create.
Oh, dope. It's going to be tight.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. From being a youngin' all the way up to current, how did you find photography in your life?
Yeah, so me being the oldest child of Nigerian descent, we're like the designated host of all events. So I'm always getting drinks, I'm food for people, showing people where to sit. So that was just the nature of my position in my family. Then, we have cameras, and I'm closer to 40. So we had film cameras. And, you only get one go at this. So everybody would, trust me to take these photos, and I had a knack for it. And everybody was, oh, you take good photos, or you really know what you're doing, or I just seemed very comfortable taking photos of adults. Did that for years. High school, I had some friends that were in yearbook, but being 6'2" and like 200 pounds, I wasn't getting the opportunity to be in the yearbook committee. So, in the midst of playing football, I would shoot some stuff with them and go around with them and just see, them creating images, and I really loved that. Then let's fast forward into college football. My last year of college football had a little extra change, and I had the ability to get a DSLR. It was actually a Nikon D80 because I had a friend who had a D40, and I knew, I was like, this is cool, but I need like a little bit more low light sensitivity because that was my low light era. Like, I don't need to shoot with flash. I just need to be able to go to 32 ISO and, get everything I need done. So I had a D80, and that was my last year of college football. And my logic behind that too was I'm going to all these places that I'm not either gonna go again or won't be around. Like the Orange Bowl, that's gone. We went to Oregon. We went to the Nike factory and everything, saw that. I've never been to Oregon again. I know they tell me Portland's popping, but I just haven't made it out there.
That's where I'm originally from.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
So just had the camera with me, took photos of my teammates. I was not good. But before I had that DSLR, I had a Fujifilm Fun Pics where you could slide the front. and take photos because I just like taking photos. I just enjoyed it. And I got introduced to DSLRs through his name is Collins Matu. He's I'm not sure if he's still shooting, but he was a phenomenal wedding photographer out here in Houston, a little bit older than me. Um, and I would see all his work and I would ask him, man, like, what settings do I need to do with my camera? Not realizing I had a point and shit. He was like, hey, you cut. He asked me, very gracious. He was like, hey, does your lens come off your camera? I was like, no. He's like, yeah, you need to get one of those type of cameras. So that was my intro into DSLRs. And so I started looking at that. And so let's go back to college football, like fast forward a year, playing football, had the camera, took it everywhere we went, took photos, and just loved what I was doing. Then I started working with this company out here in Houston called InTheMix.com. So they did a lot of nightlife stuff. So yeah, I was like in the club with a 50 millimeter, no flash, trying to take photos of people. All of them are so very bad. Also was taking photos with my teammates and college. I don't know what it is about football players, but we start families early. So like I had teammates that had kids already, taking photos of them, and I just had a lot of exposure and opportunity to take photos. And this is right before YouTube. So it was like I had to shoot and figure it out. So I would shoot in program mode, and then I would look at all the settings to all the photos that I like. So I was like, oh, okay, this is what I need to do if I want to get the same type of photo. Wasn't even shooting in RAW at that time. It was all JPEG. I didn't know what RAW was. I didn't know. So, but I was just shooting. I probably took 50,000 photos my first 2 years of taking photos, like a bunch of photos. So yeah, doing the in the mix stuff and I'll say right around 28, 29, because I was still having jobs and doing photography. 28, and I'm not knocking anybody who's has a job and does photography. You guys are smart. I'm the crazy one. So 28, 29, and just kind of all the way. It was like, hey, this is gonna keep my lights on, or we're gonna be in the dark with the camera, one of the two. And it's murder she wrote. That's what I've been doing.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge to jump in with both feet full time.
Yeah.
I had kids young as well. I mean, I started my kids I had my first daughter at 20. And she turns 30 this year. So
see, you're on the tight side. It's like you're still young and you're done, So like me being, and all my teammates that did have children, I don't want to say early because I mean we have these social constructs. If you took all those things away, I mean people would be having kids as young as 14, 15. But that's a whole nother thing. But yeah. Oh, sorry. What were we saying? I'm sorry. Got lost.
Oh, just about how I had kids young and I'm done. Like my youngest just turned 19.
Oh God.
Yeah.
My youngest is 5. I'm in it right now.
I got 10 years on you though, so it's not so bad.
And the cool thing is when you're like a young dad, being poor is okay. So it's it's cool. Yeah, I got the energy. We'll go to the park together. We'll figure this thing out.
Yeah.
When you're an older dad, they're like, hey, your hair's gray. You should have some money, man.
Yep.
I need money.
Yep.
And they still want you to run around. So it's like
they don't care that your hips and your knees are bad.
No, they don't care. No. Throw me at the pool. I want to be thrown. And I want ice cream after this.
Yep.
No, yep. And no, not the ice cream cone. That's $1.
Yep. 2 scoops of specialty or nothing.
Nothing. Yeah. Or you're gonna feel my wrath. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, that's incredible. That's so good, man. Yeah. So you're obviously, are you still a Fuji creator?
Yeah. Yeah. So the program's still rocking and roll. They haven't told me otherwise.
Perfect. What? Obviously, you shoot the Fuji brand. What drew you to Fuji?
So yeah, like I said, I had the Nikon D80 was my first camera. Then I had the D90. Then I did the D600, and I had the D600 and D800. And the autofocus was atrocious on the 800. The 600 was pretty good, but it was slow. Okay. Um, I pride myself on having the ability to like. I won't say I'm the. There's people like I think there's three group of people. There's people who make the wave. There's people who see the wave and get into it, and then there's people who have no idea that the wave's coming. I've always kind of prided myself on being the maker and the in seeing the wave. So, good photographer out here in Houston, Todd Spoke, had an XT1, and I saw it, and he literally put it up to my eye, and I was like, "Yo, the ability to see what you're gonna get exposure wise is the future. Like this is all cameras are gonna do this, period." And that was my first introduction to a mirrorless. So I rented the XT1, shot with it for a while, and it was just like, it's not there because the shutter would lag. And I was doing a lot of live music at that time. So it was like, I would take a photo of it, the guy would be over here. And I was like, oh crap. And I have to move. And I was like, yeah, this is not going to work. I like to, put hammer down on the shutter and get the shots. Um, so I was like, man, if that shutter gets faster, I can work with the bad autofocus because I mean I had the D800 and that wasn't very good at all. So that XT2 came out and they got it down to like milliseconds where it was like pat pat. I was like, oh yeah. The shutter was like bam bam, and I was like, so the blackout wasn't very high. You would have to really hammer down. I mean, take like 15 photos. No, I'll say 8 photos before you had a blackout. So once that happened, I was like, yeah, I'm switching. The other reason I didn't switch to Sony was because I didn't like the editing process wasn't a quick flow for me. Like Nikon to Fuji, it's a quick. When we're dealing with the raw files, it was a quick. I was like, the learning curve was there. I was like, all right, cool. This happens with the reds. This happens with the greens. This happens with the. But with Sony, it was like I was gonna have to relearn another language when it came to editing the files. So I was like, nah.
I have friends who have switched from Fuji to Sony, and that's their biggest complaint. It's figuring out how to remove the magentas and the greens.
Yeah.
Right.
So the yellow, it was like yellowish, greenish. And I was like, yo, I don't get this. And me shooting a lot of African American people, and a lot of the African American people that I shoot are of West African descent. Or even Nigerian people as well. That's a West African descent. We have like a reddish, orangish undertone, so that didn't go very well. And Canon has a good reddish undertone too, but I just never got into the system. So Nikon, I felt like that little cusp right there was like, all right, I need to be within these 3 guys because this is getting the job done for me.
So what you're saying is the electric viewfinder pushed you over the edge.
Oh, that was it. I was like, oh, what? You can see what you're gonna get?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Look, what are we doing here?
That blew me away when I got when I got to look through the XT3 and I could see and everything, like your exposure, everything was right there. You're like, is this real? And then trying to shoot a DSLR again, I was like, nope, not going to happen.
And I had been shooting DSLR so long that I could do the math in my head. Like I could look at a scene and be like, all right, and go. But I was like, I don't got to think anymore. Where are we at? Let's do this.
So do you still do commercial work and portraiture? Is that kind of your main go-tos?
So when I say commercial, I mean in like business to business. I make content sometimes for them or shoot stuff for campaigns and things like that. You won't see a lot of it. But no, portrait work, like I'll say maybe 4 or 5 good portrait sessions in a month will be in. I'm at the point where I'm able to price myself at a point where I don't have to do as much volume as I did before. So yeah, portrait, but I would like to get more editorial work, uh, but I'm not getting as much right now. So yeah, portrait and commercial. Good.
Is that a hard segment to get into in the editorial space?
Commercial and editorial is very, very relationship driven. So you need these businesses and these publications to want to work with you, and a lot of times it's off of a relationship, not purely talent or positioning yourself as well. So you if you do a really good job of positioning yourself and saying, "Hey, this is who I am," and then you do the back work of also saying, "Hey guys, in case you didn't know this is who I am, check out this is who I am." That's when you get a lot of those gigs. And at first, I didn't understand that, so I wasn't getting a lot of those. But yeah, that's the magic right there. Oh, Amber Alert! She needs to stop getting in people's cars.
They
Yeah,
always
right.
freak me out every time they happen.
Yeah,
Oh, that's funny. In the middle of the podcast, there's an Amber Alert.
yes, Amber Alert. Okay.
So for me, I credit photography for helping me through a pretty rough and traumatic point in my life. It was, I call it my therapy now, because when I don't shoot, it definitely, I can feel the difference in who I am as a person. And that's weird, but I suffer from concussion syndrome. So I've had 22 major concussions. So I get real dark real quick. And like talking to people like yourself and the other creators I've had on really, really helps me, because everybody has a story and has a way of dealing with those downs. And being a 100% full-time creative, I'm sure you have times that are pretty tough. What do you do for yourself to remember like that your creativity and your mental health kind of go hand in hand?
So I want to touch on one thing before I roll into that. So we'll hold on to that. I love how you were like, photography is like an out for you. Um, I tell people all the time, I had no idea what the hell I was going to do with myself. I had, and a lot of people don't realize athletes, our identity is the sport that we play. Okay. So I was literally like in the world, like, bro, who the hell am I? You know? And I was able to latch onto the photography and say, okay, I'm a photographer, I'm a creative, I'm this. And now that I'm, almost 40 and a little bit older and a little more sure of myself, I'm aware of who I am. I'm many things. I'm not just a thing. But at that time, when football was over with, it was like, bro, what am I? Like, I'm just a big dude out here now with muscles walking around in the world. So that really was a saving grace for me. But to touch upon on what you were saying, for me, you as a full timer, sometimes you get into a rut of just creating for other people and just doing things for other people. Or now with the social media, it's like shooting to appease social media, right? You gotta pull yourself back sometimes and just go do things for yourself. I'm guilty right now. I haven't done anything. No, I'm a liar. I did something for myself a month ago. I was very happy with it. And yeah, I did share it in the social media realm. It wasn't made for social media. It was simply, let me get in the studio, let me shoot somebody, let me put a concept together and create and see what I got. And love it or not, the process of doing it was really great.
It's weird when you go from a life of all you know is either sports. I played sports up to the high school level till my final concussion, because
Boxing, wrestling, or football?
Football.
Okay, cool.
And I boxed, so it was kind of a mixture.
Double.
but I also
give
raced.
Yourself a break, man.
I also raced BMX and skateboarded, so there was a plethora of head hits happening.
Oh man.
But skateboarding was was my original creative outlet, because it was me. I wasn't part of a team. I could find my own identity finally, not just a player on the field. And I did that up into my 30s. And then in my 30s, I broke my ankle for the 9th time. And I think that's when the smarts kicked in. And it was like, you should probably not do this. But then I lost a creative outlet. I lost my way to express myself. in that artistic, in that creative way. And it was quite a few years until the camera came in and replaced that. So I have this big, long part of my life where I was going through a divorce. I was going through job changes. My mom got cancer. Like, I'm talking like everything was piled on me, where I was like, I have no way to have an outlet of what I'm doing. And then I found the camera and I took one photo of long exposure that worked in probably 10,000 tries, and I was hooked. And it gave me a chance to, I could, in the early mornings, I could leave the house by myself, walk through the forest, walk through the city, capture images, come home, and my mind was free again.
Mm-hmm.
All my stresses were gone, because when I have my camera, I don't focus on any of that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So life was able to continue. So I fully understand what you're saying about, your identity was an athlete. That's what people knew you as. They were like, oh, it's Fred the football player, right? Like, that's how people see you. And then when you don't have that, you're like, well, what am I? Am I this? No. Am I this? No. What makes me who I am? And that's where you found photography. And that's where I came around to find photography. So it's incredible the circle that it takes for us to find out who we are and where we are in the world.
Yeah.
So it's always, I always have a good time when I see that there's a connection, right? Like that circle. You had athlete, I'm a photographer, but you've taken it to the step of the ultimate step. It is your 9 to 5. It is your full-time gig. And that's a dream. That's a goal for me eventually. Hopefully through the podcast platform. They're not as lucrative as they used to be, but.
Well, hey, you never know. You might be that one-to-one.
Hey, that's what I'm hoping for. And I'm having a good time with it. So
yeah.
I was just on your website here in your portrait section, and you have the young lady wearing the white dress with the teal background.
Which one? Which the Fujifred, right?
You're
Fred Agho.
Fujifred.
Yeah, I need and I'm conflicted, and I'm like, I need to consolidate too. But yeah, teal dress under portraits. Let's check it out. Let's go.
So she's in the white dress with the like the purple hue off the side.
Yeah.
I love how it's lit, and I love how you captured it. Do you spend a lot of time in studio?
So I go through seasons where I'm like, all right, I want to be in the studio all the time. And then I go through a season where I'm like, man, let's go play with natural light, because I just need to make sure that I'm sharp there. And then I also go through seasons where I'm like, let's mix the two. So I've gotten really proficient with lighting people outside during the day or even at night. So if you look at my site, you can see the two.
Definitely a skill set, man. I'm just learning lighting currently, and it is a science. If you've got it down pat, man, that you've written the formula. I'm just, I'm building a new studio downstairs to record in. It's right now I'm stuck in the corner of a kitchen. Luckily, nobody's come in to make coffee or anything. But, I'm looking forward to lighting it and having a space that I can create light in and learn more from the lighting. We're also doing a project. I'm a Hobolight ambassador, which is super cool. They partnered on the podcast. Okay. And I'm going to start doing recreations of classic cinematic scenes. So I'm going to do like Al Pacino, Michelle Pfeiffer, and the Scarface scene. So like Velvet Booth and have it lit with, the smoke going, things like that. So I'm really looking forward to pushing myself with as far as I can take and learn lighting quickly. Do you have any pointers for people trying to figure out lighting?
Man, in studio, I'll say in studio, put the power of your light to half power, not 1/2 or just the half of the power. So your light might go, because some lights do fractions and some do numbers. Okay. For instance, Profoto, Electron, Westcott, they go 1 through 8. And I would say, so if it's 1 through 8, put it at 4. Okay. If it's 1 through 10, put it at 5. Okay. Put your shutter at 125, your aperture at 7.1, okay, and your ISO at 200 or 400. Crop sensor 400, full frame 200, okay? And start there. That will get you that will have the light going and it'll have you exposed correctly. Just start right there. I tell it's like the cheat code. Once you do that, then you can go from there. You can figure out the rest. And the more you do it, the better you're gonna get. It's not a thing where you can watch all the YouTube videos in the world and then know what you're doing. Like even me, I have the Lizzie Adler stuff, and I look at it and I'm like, all right, let me go try it, and then I'm like, my stuff doesn't look like that. So you just have to work your way through your lighting. Another thing, keep in mind that the light side is going to be lit, and then the opposite side is where your shadow is. A lot of people get lost in that, okay? And that's also into ratio of where the camera is. So, instance, if the light's on my right, my face is going to be lit on the right, and on the left, I'm going to have shadows. For example, right now, with my light, the light's in front of me, right? Shining on the front of my face. So where's the shadow at? Obviously.
Behind you, right? Yeah.
In the back of my head, yeah. Then you got to learn to, then there's like 2 lights, 3 lights. So right now for this, I have a 2-light system. So right now my face is lit and the shadows are lit with this light bar in the background. So it separates me out of this light hits me, then you can really see the back of my head right there. Okay. So as you do it, the more you get it, the more you understand it. The background is gray and white. So I knew that light's going to do really well back there. But if it was a black light, a black wall, it wouldn't do as well. There's just little nuances. The more that you do it, the better you get.
You start to pick up the little pieces that make it pop.
Pop, yeah. And there's a math side to this. And if you want to be like a top tier instructor, I'd say you should learn it. And then there's just hey, I've been doing this for years side of this. I'm learning the math, but there's pretty much nothing. You can't show me something and I'm like, I don't know how they lit it. I'll tell you. And there's a good chance I can tell you what they lit it with.
That's pretty cool. Do you ever do workshops or anything?
Yep. So I have some workshops throughout the year. I have like a very intro one that I'm going to be giving away on my website soon. I'm waiting for these kiddos to go back to school, and I have a whole structure of stuff that I want to pour out there because I understand that I have a good grasp I won't say I'm like so when you get into lighting, you understand there's levels. When somebody looking at me, they'll think I'm a 9. Like, let's just rate 1 through 10. People who are looking at me will be like, "Oh man, Fred's a 8 or higher," right? But once you really deep dive into it, you understand that, oh, okay, man, I'm really like a 6, So yeah, for somebody who's in my position, I understand that I have a lot of information that I can share with people out there so they can just get a general understanding and give them the bravery and the tenacity to go out and attack lighting. Because the more you do it, the better you do.
Well, let me know when that's out because I'll do whatever I can to help you promote it. I think that's so important, whether it's, you and I partner on, getting you some advertising in the beginning of the podcast.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, man. You speak with passion for it. I can see it when you talk about it, that it really it's something you really enjoy. And I think that's something that when people see it and they can learn from it, it's such a difference. So I'm currently, I just did a partnership with Very Good Presets with Dave Herring. So he just sponsored 6 episodes.
Awesome.
So we can definitely, thanks, man. So let's work something out because I would love to help promote your work and let more people learn from you. I think what you do is phenomenal. I'm a big fan. So, I may be fanboying out right now, but your work gives me a stepping stone and a ladder that I can see. If I keep pushing, I can make it too. So
if you look at my early stuff.
Do you have a lighting partner or a preferred lighting brand?
So what I did is I had a really good gig during COVID. and I bought all this pro photo stuff. But I don't have a sponsorship with them or anything like that. Um, but I would tell people, so Godox isn't bad because I have Godox stuff. Like when I'm doing events, those are the lights I put up because I don't mind them getting knocked down, you know? Um, but I would tell people to consider the Westcott systems. Those are really good. They're more budget friendly than Profoto and Elechrome. If you got it though, Elechrome Profoto is the way to go because I mean it's a superior product. It is.
I've heard great
Um,
things.
Alien B or Einstein, if you can find some of those used, those aren't bad at all, but you're going to be confined to a wire. You're going to have to wire in. For instance, like when I shoot my Alien Bs, so we have an Alien Bs at the studio. If I rapid fire, the color temp is one. The color temp will range between 52 all the way to like 64, 64. So when it's time to edit, and say if you shoot auto or something, I don't shoot auto. I shoot a specific temp on my camera. But let's say you shot auto. Now when it's time to go edit, you have to go bring all those back together so that when your edits are added, it looks good. All right. Then also the recycle time is not that great. So you might get one, the first one will be 1 of 4. The second one might be 1 of 8. Next one will be 1 of 4. Then the next one will just be blank. You understand? With Pro Photo, if it's 1 of 4, it's 1, 2, 3, 1 of 4. 56 Kelvin, 56 Kelvin, 55 Kelvin, 56 Kelvin. So it's like, oh, snap. All right, cool. You can do the high motion stuff. Like say if you want somebody jumping, you'll get at least 8 frames before it clocks out. That's if you're not at 10 to 10 power. So if you're like at 8, you're gonna get like 10 frames. That thing will and go with your shutter. It's a superior product.
Yeah, and that's strobes, correct?
Yes, these are
Yeah.
strobes. Consistent lights. I would tell people, man, if you can get
Just buy
one,
the hobo light.
what he said. That's what he said.
That's what I was going to ask you. I was going to say, have you had the chance to use a hobo light yet?
No, I'm not familiar with it. Let me see.
Here,
How do you spell it?
HOBOLITE.
I usually don't type up hobo, so.
This is the Advent right here in the screen.
Ooh, I've seen that. That's so cool.
So this is 100-watt. You can battery power.
Where's the battery? Where's the battery go?
The battery is run off the wire. So they're all V clamp.
Oh, so you think about it.
Yep. And they come with carbon tripods. They come with a hood. They're fan cooled.
Okay.
And this is just a little guy. So this is my go-to. This is what's usually lighting my setup right now. But I have a big glass window that's giving me enough light currently. But this guy's amazing. This is called the Avant. They just created a new one called the Avant Max, which looks like a Hasselblad 500.
So let's spell it HOBO
LITE.
LI Hobolite. All right.
When you're ready, when you have all your courses, kids going back to school, I know that's coming up soon for you guys. My kids still have enough. My stepkids, they're younger. They're going grade 12 and grade 6.
They're still almost done. Oh my God.
Yeah.
You got back. You got back in the game, and then you're still almost done. How do you do
that? Some call it stupidity. Man, you know what? I just try to have as much fun as I can. I don't take life serious.
No, kids are awesome.
They are.
With what I know now, like totally would have had 1 to 2 more.
Yeah. You've got 1?
2. I got 2.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't even remember where we were. This is what's awesome about my podcast is we just have conversation.
Yeah, spitballing. I don't mind it.
Yeah, and there's no pressure. There's no nothing. And we're just here. I'm sharing your story. Dude, insane.
Come back later, and we gotta get ready soon to get for that birthday party. We're going to Bounce Bounce. Yeah. They love, she loves to be on camera when she sees it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's awesome, man.
but yeah.
Really.
Reggie, super smart,
Oh,
crazy smart.
we talked a lot about the hate he gets for giving away all that information. Like he's
Hmm.
constantly has haters. Don't give that away. And I love the way he breaks it down to doing like drawings on the image of how you can do it. 100%. He's open. Like, and he's like, oh, they don't like it because I do it for free.
But the information's all out there. And the thing is, what I've learned being an entrepreneur is that the small group of the population is actually going to do any of this stuff. But for the ones that are going to do this stuff, it's a gold mine. If there was a Reggie out there when I was going through my process, I would be, I would have got way better 100 times faster. But there wasn't that. So, being African American, being in Houston, Texas, um, being not of the formal arts, background, I didn't get a lot of help. Like my mentor is like 3 years older than me. And then the other guy that who helped me out, or the other gentleman who helped me out, may his soul rest in peace. He didn't even really necessarily help me out. It was just I was able to see him and know that what I wanted to do was possible. So yeah, but now it's like there's nothing in your way. Like you can learn all the fundamentals and the how to's, and then you just have to go through the relationships and building the nuances and everything like that. But yeah, photography is crazy now.
It is. There's so much information at your fingertips.
Hmm.
I'm fully schooled in YouTube University.
Yeah.
I was off work for 3 months at the beginning of COVID, and
Oh,
I shot every day from like 6 a.m. until 1 or 2 in the afternoon.
you got
And
good
then,
fast.
and I had hours, right? It's that 10,000 hour thing, man. I was putting hours. And I gradually saw images start to pop. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
what did I do? You look at your settings. All right, let's go try it again tomorrow. And I try it again the next day and the next day and the next day. I failed a lot more than I've succeeded, but that just makes it stronger.
I do. I still fall flat on my face too. So it's because when if you to not get bored with this thing, you're gonna try things that are harder, and you're going to fall on your face in the process of doing it because you will get bored if you just keep doing the. I'm not necessarily saying this is a definite, but for people who are more natured like me, you will get bored if you just keep doing the same thing over and over. You'll be like, yo, this is cool and all, but let's do something else. Let's try something else. There's a guy named Beware of Fuji. He does this crazy thing where he layers the photos because the cool thing with multi, you familiar with him?
Oh yeah.
I went out and tried that, fell all over my face.
I
I
bought a
was like,
4mm because of him. The 4mm fisheye,
uh-huh.
because he's doing Tom was doing all that craziness with the lighting and the circles, right? Because that lens is a pure circle. And the way he would
Mhm.
capture things, I was like, I have no idea what you're doing, but I can do that. No, I can't.
No, no, no. And I think I know what the hell I'm doing. So I was like, and I spent like, I'd say about 50 to 60 hours to get something that was decent. Not good. That was like, okay, you have a grasp of what's going on here. You still suck, but you have a grasp of what's going on here. So yeah, man, the more you get out there, the faster and the better you get. It's just what it is. I hear this all the time. Man, I bought a camera and I just don't know what to do with it. I was like, when's the last time you shot with it? They're like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of how this works.
I shoot every day, whether it's a frame that I'm going to keep or if it's just because my hand wants to move the dials. I have to shoot the camera. And that's just,
Yeah.
I'm in that burnout stage right now because I live outside of Vancouver, British Columbia, in a smaller town. And I'm pretty sure I've shot every square inch of this town, and it does nothing to excite me now. Like I used to be able to go out anytime and be like, oh, I know what the light's going to do there. It's going to be awesome. We're going to do this. now I just think of it as just the same. It's just one big boring picture. So I just have to go out and try to find things. So right now my thing is abandoned vehicles and abandoned barns. And that's what I want to capture. So I drive all the back streets because there's a lot of farms around us. So I drive the back streets, and through the farmlands, and I just look for things that are broke down or rusty or gross. And that's what I capture now. That's what gives me excitement. So that's where I am. And then I'll start
one and ones. Sorry for cutting you off.
Oh, no worries, man. But yeah, exactly. I'm just trying to find just something different slightly. There's a lot of houses that are boarded up and they're rotting away, but you can capture so many cool, unique images of that home. Yeah. Right. So anything that keeps you using the camera, they may not be bangers. They may not be stuff that I share or that I'm super excited about, but it's not the same old. And I'm out there capturing an image and using the camera, keeping myself fresh with my settings. No,
let me tell you what's funny. When you go back and look at because I have almost every photo that I've ever taken. Like I got 30 terabytes of 30 terabytes of storage. When you go back, you're gonna find you're gonna have a different eye when you go back and look at your stuff. So keep the stuff, and in 5 years from now, you'll go back and go, "Oh my God, how did I not know this was a banger? What was I thinking?"
Yeah, I've done that on a couple now. I was like, oh, I took that really cool photo a few Christmases ago of this. They had this big red star lit up down in their downtown core, but it had the full city. It had a full cityscape behind it. I thought it was okay when I took it, but then I just posted it on Threads yesterday, and I saw it and I was like, that is a damn good photo.
I'm gonna check it out.
So
Threads is awesome.
Oh, I love it.
I love it.
So much support.
We got another place again. And I feel like with IG, it's more like selling that you need to follow me versus saying, hey, and they'd say all that stuff where you need to be unique. But at the end of the day, I still feel like, I'm selling something. Hey, come look at me. Versus Threads, it's like, hey, these are some photos I took. Bye.
Yeah, it's fun. If you hop on my page on Threads, it's the fourth photo down. There's a two-parter. There's two different angles of the same thing, and then we'll finish up and get you to a birthday party.
Yeah, man. Sorry, man. Once we get that new space, man, if you can, have me come back. I'll try to schedule. But yeah, my day just.
No stress on my part, man. This is great. We'll just call it, this is the first of many. We'll get you on as many times as we can.
What is your third? Tell it to me.
Just Tyson Martin. Just TysonMartin.
I'm trying to put in the podcast. Sorry.
That's all good. The podcast one I keep strictly for the guests.
Ooh, that second one is amazing. Okay, look at this. This one's so good. The trash can is crazy with the chain.
Thank you.
That's such a cool nuance right there.
So I was having creative block like you wouldn't believe, and I walked through. I have a very small downtown core. It has a one-way street, and I was walking through the alley, and I started laughing because I saw the chain. And all I thought of is I'm a huge A-Team fan, so B.A. Baracus and his big chain. And I'm like, okay, how can I incorporate a chain into this image? And then I started making his I pity the fool and stuff to the garbage can. And then I'm having a good time again. I took that photo and I looked at it and I'm like, I'm back.
So what's so funny is let's double down on that and then we can finish up. I got such a different meaning. It's so cool that when you take a photo in your head, you have the meaning, but it can mean so many different things to other people. Like me, I was like, they're protecting their trash. Like what one person, like, what are you, why? Like, what are you protecting? Like, is somebody going to steal your trash can or is this a problem? I'm just going down all the scenarios of why they have a chain on a trash can versus, but in the midst of it, there's a beauty to it
Yeah.
because it is really nice. That
Thank you,
chain,
sir.
the hanging, everything. This is so good. We shot at, so we're at, what time of day is it? We're at what, 4 or 5 o'clock, or we're on the other end in the morning.
It was like 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah, so on the other end of the morning.
Yeah.
And then, because I don't know where on the planet.
West Coast.
Yeah. Okay, so, oh, because in the morning it goes like that. Yeah, you're right. And then you're at F11?
Probably right in that range. I can't remember. That was taken with a Ricoh. So,
What type of sensor is that?
APS-C, 24 megapixel.
Yeah, probably 11. Because, yeah, F11. Maybe 13. Oh, this is really good.
Thanks, man.
I'm such a nerd. I'm able to look at everything.
And then the one right below it is the cityscape I was talking about.
No, that's really dope. It's really dope.
And that was an XT30 with a 23 mil f2.
That's so dope. You pushed up the ISO, but kept that shutter.
Definitely.
Kept the shutter down. So you see what I'm like, the ability to look at everything and understand how the photo was created. I'm now at that point where I like doing that a lot.
Now it's good for me to hear because I mean, obviously I love your work and then you're pulling out, my garbage can photo, that photo made me stay a photographer because I was ready to hang it up because I couldn't find inspiration. And like, I took that and that's what brought me back. And I talked about it.
It's a beautiful image.
So if you follow on Threads, there's people that talk about Tyson and his garbage can finding inspiration and they'll go shoot garbage cans. It's amazing. So anyway, Fred, I know you got to get going.
I'm about to start spamming. Yes, sir.
Where's the best place for people to find you?
Hey man, so I'm on IG at Fred Agho, FredAgho. I'm on Twitter, Fred Agho _. I'm also on Threads at Fred Agho. My two websites are Fujifred, FUJI, Fred.com, or Fred Agho, FredAgho.com. And I'm just, right now, I'm kind of just doing the life thing. But I'm going to get back to working when school starts. So I'll have a little more free time and start creating stuff because I do really want to share my knowledge of lighting with other people. I feel like that's like a thing that scares a lot of people is lighting. And I just want people to have that toolbox in their kit. And then also just maybe further down the line, start teaching people how to understand what they're looking at when they're looking at photos. And you should be able to, pinch into a photo and say, all right, this is the realm in which this photo was shot in. You don't have to know it exactly, but like how I was able to look at your photo, tell you, it was either sun towards sunset or sunrise and the f-stop and things like that. I want people to be able to do that. Then they can look at stuff that inspires them and go make their own version of it.
I think that's such a great skill to have, and everybody possibly look out for a Fred and a Life of Phys collaboration on his training program. Maybe we do some kind of affiliate program because I truly believe that people can learn a lot from you. But yeah, man, I appreciate your time today.
Man, sorry, we started rolling. I'm like, man, I could be here all day, but
yeah. Well, we'll do it again. We'll do a part 2 for sure.
Okay.
What I'll do is I'm going to fire you my phone number. I'm on a world plan. So, we can just shoot the shit, right? Like we can just have good conversation. Cause I think I can learn a ton from you. And you know what? I think we can create a pretty cool friendship and maybe collaborate on a project in the future. And it's cool. Cause everybody I bring on means something to this podcast. I don't just reach out for people. So I'm very, very strategic about the people that I talk to, whether it's, I have a guy who's shooting for 6 months, but I love his work. I'm doing an episode with him. And then all the way, I just did Phil Penman, which was incredible.
Oh, you did Phil? You did Phil?
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, it's not out yet.
He's crazy.
Super cool dude.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
He's like a regular human being, but he's so talented.
Yes, sir.
My homie was shooting with him in New York, and I got some portraits of him. I just didn't put them out because I was just like, I'm gonna wait. He's so talented.
Yeah. I'm in the works right now getting Devin Allen. I'm just trying to set up a time.
You're getting it done, bro.
This is no joke for me. This is one way for me to share in the community that I credit for saving my life. But I also, this is a way for me to help my friends like you get your story out. Let people hear something other than, the typical type of podcast. They hear your story and they're like, damn, okay. Like I did the same shit as Fred. Like I can do this too. And that's what it is. It's about giving people hope, right? The world is so tough. It's beating so many people down, but if we can give one person hope, then our conversation was worth it. And if anything, it started a friendship between us. So we'll just keep building it and we'll keep inspiring others to just go out and shoot their camera.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, but I'm here. Guys, if you feel free to DM me or reach out, I try my best to answer everybody. You reached out. I'm pretty easy. So,
yep. And that's one thing people need to understand. Sorry for cutting you off there. Is that just reach out. Everybody that I've had on the show, I've reached out. They don't know who I am. I reach out and they go, I'll think about it. Or they go, yeah, man, let's do it. And I had Steve Caballero, legendary Pal Peralta skateboarder, idol of mine. I reached out to him. He got back to me and said, yeah, man, I'm free this day. Can you do it? I said, I'll make it happen. So I had him on and that was great. So yes, reach out. Fred is awesome. He will get back to you. So, all right, man, we'll enjoy your light died.
Yep. My light died. So yeah, I guess that's the letting you know. Right?
Yeah. Awesome, man. I'll fire you off my number and we'll keep in touch. And then let's do a second part when we have some more time and we'll really push that program when you're ready.
All right. Thank you so very much. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you too, sir. Have a good one. Enjoy your afternoon.
Peace.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Life of Phys podcast. I hope you've enjoyed our show, and don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. Your feedback helps us continue to bring you content and the stories of our incredible guests. And remember to stay connected with us on all social media platforms. It's at LIFE_OF_PHYS or on the internet at www.lifeofphys.com. Thank you for tuning in and have a great day.